Cooper. We just want to thank you so much for pursuing this interview with us, and thank you so much. We are honored.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank y'all very much. I'm honored as well. I'm humbled, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. How your day going? Everything going?
So far, I'm just trying to battle, just doing different things, dog. That's all. Just
yeah,
trying to handle this business alone. I was about to speak German, but trying to handle it alone. That's all.
That's right, because you lived over there in overseas for a while too.
Yeah, 19 years.
Wow. Because in the middle of '80s, when you first signed to DJ International Records, did you ever see yourself, having this much success as today and being one of the most influential international artists and house music legend?
If I said yes, would that make me sound arrogant?
No.
Okay, I put it like this. When I was younger, when I say young, I'm talking about, I guess, 9, 10, or maybe 10, 11, 12, somewhere up in there. I wanted to be famous, right? I wanted to be like Richard Pryor. I always wanted to be famous like Richard Pryor. Not necessarily a comedian, but the level of notoriety that this brother had, I wanted to have that because all the grown-ups loved him, the whole time period loved him. So I was like, I wanted to be that. All at the same time, I wanted to be a race car driver. At the same time, I wanted to be a lawyer. At the same time, I wanted to be a basketball player. Whatever encompassed fame, that's what I wanted. So when I signed a DJ International, to me, it was like a recording contract, right? It was more like a real, like if it was Warner Brothers or Atlantic or something like that. So I kind of figured I didn't know, but I had an idea that I would be famous if all these other things took place.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So that was it.
Cool. And I gotta ask you about this question because this is still one of my favorite songs of yours all times. Turn Up the Bass. This is a classic. To this day, I still play this song. You can
Word. All right.
And you I can say I knew you when I was younger, but when I heard the song playing on everywhere on the radio, I became a fan of you, Fast Eddie, and all them guys. How did this track come into existence?
Don't know if you interview Fast Steady or not. So it kind of started like this. We were at DJ International. I was a studio rat. A studio rat meaning like all day long, that's all I did was in the studio making beats for any and everybody, doing productions on DJ International for whatever artist that that they wanted. I was supposed to be getting like $50 a track, and I would do like 4 or 5 tracks a night. So I'm thinking that at the end of the day, my paycheck is going to be big, and it wasn't. So at the same time, a Fast Steady was coming. He had left DJ International, was coming back to the fray, and he told, if I'm not mistaken, he told Rocky that he wanted to do house, he wanted to do hip hop. And I think Rocky told him that doesn't exist. And well, he said, well, I'm just gonna rap over this ish. And that's that. Rocky, I guess Rocky said, yeah, whatever, do whatever you're gonna do. And Your Gift was created. Now, my manager, or the guy I worked for at the time, Benji Espinoza, Elohim Izadi Thursday. If you ever hear me say that about someone that passed, that means may Allah rest him in peace, may God rest him in peace. It's a Turkish phrase, right? So he said, yeah, well, Tyree, you need to do a record like that steady. I'm like, why? That's 80s thing. I don't want to do that. I'm into deep house, I'm into pianos and all that stuff. He said, well, you should try it at least. So all right, cool. There was a guy, Cool Rock Steady from the Dale Towns, they had did something similar, but it wasn't to the level of Fast Steady. And I put together a track, and I asked Cool Rock, would he rap on it? He said, yeah, Cool Rock, it's cool. And Turn Up the Bass was developed. I did not know it was gonna be that big. That's something I could tell you. I had no idea it was gonna be that big at the time that I released it, or the time it was released. 1 month after the release, no, 2 months, maybe 3 months, let's say the record came out in September. By November, I was on my way to Europe for the first time in my life. By the time I left Europe and let's say November, December, January, February, I was back over there because the record had reached the pop charts that fast. So I had no idea. So that record was born out of something to do, dog. You know what I'm saying? Just something to do.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, that is interesting. Now, you just mentioned that you did not know the record was going to be that big, right?
Yes.
So do you think an artist or a producer ever knows when like their track or whatever is going to be a hit?
Sometimes you may have a good idea. Sometimes it feels right, and the public may not feel your sentiment about that track. However, sometimes, in my case, sometimes the track that you least like is the one that'll be the hit. You know, it's sometimes it's weird. It's just weird like that. Sometimes they know. I never knew what was going, like I always had an idea. Like my first record, I Feel the Night, I figured that was going to be a hit. House music was in its embryonic stages, so to speak. It had only been out like a couple of years. So it was still kind of in a small, it was still very regional in that sense. So I kind of had an idea about that, but like Turn Up the Bass or no artist really knows. You have an idea. When you finish it, you go, yeah, this is gonna be a hit. And sometimes it's your worst disappointment. Nobody gets into it. So no, I don't know. Somebody might have a different concept of that. I personally, that was my experience. Just let the dice roll, and wherever they fall is where they fall.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. And when listening to house music over the past decade, it seemed like it developed into many genres under the house umbrella. You know, as a producer, you've been in the game for almost 40 years.
Hey, young woman.
Okay, all right, but you've been in the game for a minute.
Not 40.
Can you tell us?
2026, I've been DJing for 40 years.
That's right. That's right.
No. 2024, I'll be DJing 40 years. 2026, I've been making records for 40 years.
Okay. I like that.
Don't pump your brakes. I'm older, but not. I'll be patient.
Hey, you could have got started 8, 9, 5 years old. So
yeah,
4.
I got started, man. It was again, it was something to do. I went to college. I went to college on a basketball scholarship, so to speak, and going to Wisconsin Stout in Menominee, Wisconsin was an eye-opening experience. I to say it like that, I didn't mean to buck my eyes like that, but I tell you, it was eye-opening because there was nothing around me that looked like me except for the people on the basketball and or football team. And that was maybe 3% of the population at the school. College town, very nice. People they wasn't having lynch riots and those like that, but it was an eye-opening experience. So I left college after 3 days. I always say that. I came down to Kennedy King, and my mom was kind of stressing about, what should be my next move. I told her I was going to be a DJ like Farley. She thought I was batshit crazy. She said, Farley is Farley, you're Tyree, you're not going to do this, whatever. That was the first argument. Second argument was, I'm going to make records. And that's pretty much how it started, dog. It went from one thing to the next. That's pretty much, like I said, just something to do. Look, you like what Biggie say, you either got a wicked jump shot or you slinging crack rock. That's how you get out the hood. And I could not sling a crack anything. So my jump shot was pretty wicked, I must say. No. I just made a better career choice. Growing up in the Inglewood area in Chicago, I just made a better career choice. I say it like that. Because it could have went this way or that way.
Yeah. You made a great choice, I believe.
Thank you.
Absolutely. How has the music evolved though with house music? Do you think
the evolution of it? Do y'all have time?
You can say your spiel.
So, real quick, we invented, they stole it. End of story.
I got you. Okay.
I mean, from the point where when we were doing house music in Chicago, and it was only like a relatively, I wouldn't even call it Midwest thing. I call it like a just a Chicago thing. Chicago, Indiana, Southern Illinois-ish, depending on how far WBMX reached your territory. Up until the point like today, you have young people that will try and tell me what house music is and what it is today and how it's evolved and this, that, and the third, and it really hasn't. It's always been music is always young, first and foremost. It's enjoyed by everybody, but it's always in its creation is young, because that's what drives the energy of the sound, right? You can go back as far as Robert Johnson with blues. You can go far back as Chuck Berry with rock and roll, Ray Charles with rhythm and blues. You know what I'm saying? You can always go back. Everybody was relatively young. And Chicago was no different. House music was no different. We had the Hot Mix 5, which made it special for us in Chicago because we had 5 different people playing a version of danceable music. But when it came to house music, as we know, that's a total Chicago thing. I mean, total Chicago. Some people like to say that it was derived from disco and whatnot. The basis for Chicago house music is the drums, like in a quasi tribal setting, you know, from tribal people where they spoke in rhythm. Dances, a dance, not necessarily a party, but a dance meant something. How you talk to one another, how you correlated your conversation with one tribe to the next. It is a ritual, and the drums played the most intricate part. So house music was no different, because when Jesse Saunders released On and On, yeah, we liked it, but we turned the record over because when we DJ'd in Chicago, we wanted the sound system to bump. We wanted the sound system to be as loud, but not overbearing loud, just the kick drum or the bass, as he called it, right? Just to have that boom, boom, boom. And that boom, boom, boom spoke to you in Chicago. It spoke to you. It spoke to your heart. It spoke to your mind, your heart, and your feet. Because when, you know, our diaspora, when we hear something and it's moving, we hear. Mm-hmm. And if we hear, that means the mind got it. The heart is following. And the same thing was no different with house music. When we were doing it, when it was in 1984, when the music started coming out, that was the biggest part, was the drums. So the drums, like I said, it spoke to us, and that's the basis of house music. You can put key, they say disco and jazz and all the rest of that. That's fine. That's fine. But none of that in house music none of that would be in existence if it wasn't for when you played it, when you put it on the turntable, or back in the day you had Walkman on, and the beat hit you. I mean, you had Italian disco, you had New York club music, you had all these other sounds around you, but Chicago touched you. I mean, it touched you literally mind, body, and soul and spirit innately, whether you liked it or not. If you was in a room with it, you like, you know, back in the day, you used to have the adult clubs would play like the more R&B kind of, you know, R&B kind of music, right? But when you play one of them Chicago records in the set, oh man, the place erupted. It just went. So yeah, it's all about the beat, man. That's what made house music house music. It's the tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So of course you've been in the game for a long time. What keeps Tyree motivated and inspired to keep on doing what you're doing?
Prostitutes, drugs, pimps, gang banging, jumping off rooftops. No, I'm joking. I'm only joking. You're like, wait a minute, hold up. He didn't sign up for this. What is this dude talking about? Drugs, pimps, prostitutes? What's going on with this dude? What motivates me? energy, you know, just plain old energy. When it comes to, if you're talking about music wise, yeah, it's the energy, right? It's the, if I hear it, or if I gotta if I hear it in my head, I try to emulate what's in my head with my fingers, or not that I learned how to rap a little bit. I do it with vocals, but just the energy. That's pretty much it. Make a long story short, just energy. It motivates me. If I hear a tune, I'm going, oh man, that's nice. I can remix it or produce one myself. That's pretty much motivates me. And everything around me, you know, the real talk, people, you know, energy from people. Yeah, just energy, just energy. I leave it at that. Just energy, just energy.
Okay.
Yeah, and I noticed you always been this, you know, this I could say easygoing. We know you funny and all that great stuff. Yeah, you down to earth and rooted in culture.
Yeah.
What was instilled in you far as those aspects to stay focused, grounded, and you know, and be a real human being, I should say.
Say me know you got a black mama.
Yeah.
Need I say more? Black family, man. My
Mhm.
mother. I can't say everybody doesn't have a black family. So let me reiterate and clarify myself. My family kept me rooted and kept me grounded. I have so many dark entities in my family that I never wanted to go that route. And my mother living in her house. Elohim is out there, because my mother's not here with us anymore, but she made sure that the 3 R's, I don't know if y'all remember those, the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, was number 1. Number 2, she wanted to make sure that I did enjoy my childhood and not stay in trouble. Yeah, that was another subject, but I did the best I could. And man, like my uncles, my aunts, just the diaspora, like the dynamics in my family. Like I said, I have a history of a dark side of people in my family, and then there's a history of light side of people in my family, right? Yeah, it was just yeah, I didn't want no more ass whoopings. I'd just say as simple as that. It hurt. So, you know, you get tired of, you know, getting your ass whooped a lot. You tend to straighten up and fly right.
Yeah. So you toured around the world, became a renowned DJ, producer. Can you tell us what's next for Tyree?
I don't know. Whatever the wind blows, however it goes. I mean, I have a lot in my cranium that I can't get out. Even if I run my head into the wall, it's still not going to spew out. I have no idea. I have a lot of things that I would like to do. And we just see, like I said, I'm just trying to manage my emotions at the moment. Post-pandemic, I don't want to sound conspiratorial, post New World Order, so to speak, but not in any conspiratorial way, but just how the way the world is working right now. Yeah, I have no idea. Just something positive, maybe a movie, something to that degree, soundtracks to a movie. I haven't sent a shout out to Questlove, DJ Questlove from The Roots, in case y'all don't know who that is. Not y'all, but the people that's watching. Absolutely. He showed me some love by licensing my record for the TV show Billions, because he was a DJ and this party and in the TV show, and from my understanding, they gave him a list of records to choose from. He didn't like any of them, so he chose mine, because mine was the one that he enjoyed the most from his childhood, or from his younger days as a DJ. Now, Questlove produced Tribe Called Quest. Some of your better records from Tribe Called Quest, you should look at the title and be like, oh wow, Questlove produced this, right? So for me, it's like there's a whole gang of hip hop people that like Video Crash, from Red Alert, Crazy Legs, from the Rocksteady crew, my big brother, Africa Islam, Ice-T, Marley, DJ Marley, I mean, Jungle Brother. I mean, it's a gang of them that liked it, that like my record and house music in general, right? So I had to give these brothers a shout. And that's another thing I wanted to say too, that the way they handle this music, it's almost like society treats us, right? They separate the key from the lock. They separate the head from the body. They separate the soul from the mind, so to speak, because they make you believe that hip hop is the only black music. Nothing else exists. This is the black music. This is the quintessential black music. And it's so far from the truth, because they're Detroit techno is yet another genre they don't even speak on. Chicago house music they don't speak on. Only hip hop. And these brothers that are known was into this music, like Sir Mix-a-Lot. When you hear "Baby Got Back," right? "Baby Got Back." Yeah, that's Juan Atkins' record from Detroit in the background that he sampled. The main sample, the main loop you hear is from a techno record. You know what I'm saying? That's something that they don't tell you, but the way they depict it is like, yeah, no, this is black. No, this is only black. It only has to be like this. It got to be like, because this is the narrative we want to dispense. This is the narrative we want to use to control. So yeah, the more we can extenuate the negativity, extenuate the negativity and erase the positivity, is better for us. So a lot of people, a lot of young folks, a lot of middle-aged young folks, meaning in your late 20s, early 30s, maybe somewhere up in there, they don't have a clue what this culture really is. You know what I mean? Like for them, it's just this and that's it. When, as we were growing up, we had blues, we had R&B, we had everything imaginable. And so by me knowing you, knowing you when you was a shorty, you had everything. You had all these genres around you, and it was part of your soundtrack to your life. These kids today only have one soundtrack to their life. They're not even trying to think about nothing else. That's the sad part about it. Where when you were growing up, man, you had hip hop, you had house, you had a version of Detroit techno by Rhythm is Rhythm, things from Detroit, things of that nature, right? On top of that, you had the blues, you had the baby making music, you had the danceable R&B, you had, all this stuff that was there, they systematically erased, so you and your kids will never know what was before, only what's now, which is the sad part about Black culture and Black music. So yeah, so I mean, I know that was a deviation of what you was asking me, but
that's fine. That's fine. That just made me come up with another question when you was asking.
Right on.
But far as like, I don't want to sound political when I say this.
Say it.
I lived in that era, and I noticed this whole shift in New York. You guys out of DJ International Records was changing that hip hop sound, and they was a lot of artists was moving to this house sound of Chicago, and a lot of people don't know that. Would you like to expound on that, or?
I'll put you like I take that thought and go a little deeper. There was I did an article for Red Bull Academy and this group Onyx. I don't know if y'all remember Onyx.
Yes.
Their first album, the album that they came out with, Back to For Whatever, was a hip house album. It had more house music on it than hip hop. And Jam Master Jay told him, no, we're gonna do something else, because nobody was really pushing hip hop or hip house, but the brothers from Onyx was into it because they were in the clubs and that's what they were playing. Marley Marl did hip house. The Jungle Brothers, of course. Queen Latifah loved house music and loved hip house. But again, as I was stating earlier, when they were in the 90s, when they were trying to come up with new laws to incarcerate brothers and continually separate Black families, they used the negativity of hip hop to do that. So young brothers coming up in the 90s had a disdain for house music, thinking it was only homosexual music because it was played in these clubs. Well, if one went to a club, depending on where you live, yeah, they might have had a few homosexuals in the spot, but that doesn't mean the music was homosexual. You see what I'm saying? When they put up, when they exploited hip hop, they made it seem like all young Black men were gang members. You might have had one or two, but for the most part, these were young men that were just impressionable about what they were seeing and what was being done. So again, they separated the culture in a way where there was no connection. It was only like two opposite ends of a magnet. And they kept doing it until they created laws to incarcerate brothers, because up until then, they couldn't do it. When they took the negativity out of hip hop, yeah, now they call women all kind of names. They doing all kind of things in the street. Yeah, if you grew up in a neighborhood that was underprivileged, was marginal, even I'm using lesser words, but it was poor. I'd say like that. You grew up in a poor neighborhood, very crime ridden, because there's only one law, one justice, and whoever controlled that neighborhood made the law and the justice, and the police came and arrested everybody because everybody was guilty in their eye, pretty much like today. Yeah, so it was easier for them to get away with it. So yeah, they created these laws and everything, created this stuff and divided us. Where we were when we were in our youth, the music brought us together. The music brought different cultures from everywhere and brought them in one place. The powers that be at that time couldn't see that. They didn't want to see that. They don't want to see young Black people come up with anything creative, because they know out of that creativity, their plan is finished. That's why it's so important that we find a way to stick together, learn to figure out how to communicate and cooperate, learn how to assemble and unify, learn how to put away the blinders, hear the dialogue and try to help. The powers that be, trust me, they will not allow that to happen. It's every time, no matter what year, what decade, because to me, in my eye, the 60s would have done it. The 70s was a part of. The 80s is when they said, no, we'll never let this happen, because they instituted more drugs into the community. You know, you figured, like when you were listening to house music as a shorty, you know, the advent of the drug dealer was the thing, right? You know, you saw somebody driving down the street with a fancy car, sitting on some kind of RAM, sitting on some kind of sound system. It was impressionable for young women to go, he got money, and us to go, damn, how you get that money? And with that kind of thinking, oh, they did this, this, and this. Well, I got to do that. And at the same time, in the 70s, they was like, no. That's the destruction. Don't listen to that. In the 80s, they was like, no, just keep pushing this, keep pushing this, keep pushing this, keep pushing this. We'll get rid of the Panthers. We'll get rid of the Young Ghetto Boys. We'll get rid of any type of organization that uplift the youth. So we talk about Mexican brothers, Spanish, Puerto Rican brothers, Black brothers and sisters, of course. Please don't give me, don't. I have sisters. I have to include sisters. I have 5 of them. Brothers and sisters was getting away from the actual plan, and they kept they created more laws to incarcerate us, because in the 70s there wasn't that much incarceration. In the 80s, the early 80s, wasn't that much incarceration. This didn't happen until like the 90s, when they got a good grip on what they were doing. So yeah, it was a well-designed plan, and what I'm saying is we can alter that plan if we can figure out how to stick together.
Mm-hmm.
You got a point there, because when we was coming to Chicago, we was younger, at a relative house, 2nd, 3rd floor. I'm just looking out the window, saying, I'm impressioned by the cars and have the sound. That's why I'm like, you know what? I wanna be a rapper. I wanna, you know, it was like those are the influences. So some people can have those influences and take it negative, and some can use it for positive. So I
Right.
was blessed. I was took it as a as a positive. I'm sorry, as a
I
positive.
know you, man.
So,
Yeah, we'd have
yeah.
killed you if you'd have took it negative. You'd have been hanging up upside down like, oh, tell him to stop. They play too much. They play too much. Um, yeah, but again, you know, and as you were coming to Chicago, the brothers that were drug dealers were actually, if you really look at it, they were really trying to improve the neighborhood, although they were doing some bad.
Mhm.
They would make if you was down on your luck and you didn't have any money, brother give you dough. They give you some money, like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
They hit you off, right?
yeah.
Yeah, but again, we talk about young brothers at that time that seemed like they didn't have anything else that was going for them that was positive, because everything else seemed like it was far away. They couldn't hell they if they couldn't shoot basketball, they wasn't going to be in the NBA. If they couldn't catch the ball, they wasn't going to be in the NFL. And this is their way of being that, at the same time, not understanding that this was destroying their neighborhood. Look, they got rid of the Black Panthers, man, in a generation. And all these brothers stood up for was, you know, defend ourselves, get these people out of our neighborhood. Hell, the gangs was invented or created, not invented, was created to keep white people out of our Black communities. This is the reason why your vice lords, your gangster disciples, your El Rookins, Latin Kings, all these gangs was to get the white and the Italians, the Swedish, all these other immigrants out of the community that we now inhabit. They were fighting against to keep us out. We was fighting to keep them away from us. So we formed gangs to get out. And again, the man come in and said, this look like it's gonna be a problem. What can we do? Hey, you want to make some money? Yeah, sure. How do I do that? And do what with it? Don't worry about it. You need someone. We got you. For real? Who am I gonna sell it to? Tell it to them. In essence, they created the exact same thing we was fighting for. It was just in a derogatory way. They created a system of making money, and the powers that be created the system to incarcerate us even longer. Because at the time, it wasn't no 3-strike rule. Powdered cocaine was 7 years if you got busted. 7 years. By the time the 80s ended, crack cocaine was 25 years. You understand what I mean? They created weed. Weed wasn't even an offense. You got busted with some weed, go on about your business, man. Get on out of here. Weed was carrying 10 years. So who were they targeting? Who were they really targeting? So all this stuff was developed at the same time. All this great music was being hip hop, house, techno, all this stuff. Brothers is making videos. You know, directors were being born, actors were being born, and they depicted all in the movie. And all young Black men and women took away was the negative part of it. I don't like to let she wear her hair. I can wear mine better than that. I don't like them. I can wear that better than that. And they developed these type of women that went with the type of men that they was creating. So, you know, brothers had dookie ropes, they used to call it back in the day, right? These big old thick chains looking like pharaohs, because that's the image they predicted in the 70s and the 60s. Best to my knowledge, it didn't even go down like that. If you sold drugs, you was quiet as a church mouse. You won't nobody know what you was doing. It wasn't like that later on. So yeah, they had it in for us.
Wow. You got so much history and knowledge. I think
Me? Nah. First of all, Alhim Izadi Adurse, I owe it to my 8th grade teacher. He was one of those educators that you may get once in a lifetime if you're lucky. As I said, I wasn't always the nice guy. I had a little bit of turbulence in my life, I'll say. I'm not gonna say I was a bad seed, a little bit of turbulence. And I got put into a all bad boys room, right? It was no girls, only boys. And trust me, it was not the place to be at that time. But to say that was, this brother took his time and educated every last one of us. I mean, to the point where, let's say like you were a student and you couldn't read when you got into his class. You couldn't read. I mean, your reading level was you reading at third grade level. And school is what? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 9 months out of the year. In 9 months, you went from a third grade, a young man could go from a third grade reading average to almost 9th or 10th grade in 9 months.
Wow.
Not just reading, writing, vocabulary, your posture. I mean, everything. And it wasn't like he said, okay, Tyree, you're gonna do this. No. When he called upon you and you didn't know, he explained it to you on the board. And by the time you finished that part of it, when it came up again, it was like second nature. It was instinct. And because I was one of the cats, I've always got good grades in school. I've always gotten passing marks. It's just, I know it's gonna sound amazing. I just ran my mouth too much. I was a class clown. I was the jokester. I was, I wasn't as serious as I am today. I was another kind of person. And when I left his class, because he was a basketball coach, and to play basketball, you had to have grades naturally. So when we used to have games, I thought I would get basketball. I would get playing time. Mind you, I was a buster. I was a scrub. I didn't get good until my sophomore year of high school. I'm not even going to front. But I even put it, my work ethic was based on him. You know what I'm saying? My work ethic for basketball is based on him. So when I was in his class, I went from 7th grade. So you average, if you're in 7th grade, if you're in 7th grade, you should read at a 9th grade level. That's how they look at it. When I was in 7th grade, I was at a 7th grade level. So at that point, according to statistics, I was below average. By the time I graduated his class, no, I was college professor material. I was college student material. I'm talking about 13, freshmen in college all across the board. So in turn, it helped me become Tyree Cooper, right? In his class, two of my best friends, one of them worked in the White House with Barack Obama. The other one worked at ESPN as a sports writer. They were both in his class. And mind you, this was the all bad boys class. So my point was, he took young men and developed them. I mean, like, the way you hear me today is based on him. My vernacular, my attitude, my poise, my sense of constructing and putting together my sentences, putting together my thought in a correct way so everyone can understand. Because I ain't learned in high school other than how to play more basketball. That's all I learned in high school. And as a matter of fact, it helped me to the point where I understood how to transfer from one school to another without my mother's help, because I understood the ways of how everything was working at the time, right? So Mr. James Garland, I owe him everything. My mother and father, don't get it twisted, they get a lot of credit too, but this man, and not just me, a gang of brothers. I mean, I said gang of, I'm talking about brothers that was in gangs and brothers that wasn't, that played basketball for him, achieved something in life. Every brother he touched achieved something in life. So yeah, he gets a lot. So I owe all this to him.
That's heavy. That's heavy right there.
Wow.
That's what we missing with a lot of Black males that could be mentors and just setting our youth straight and lead them in the right direction. Because a lot of people just, hey, I got mans, I got my money, got my car, got my
right.
So
He's the reason why I do this today, because in order for me to be quote famous, I have to give back to somebody. You can't die with this. So my way is just like he did to me. I'll give you all this. Here, this is what happens. This is me. This is what he's the only man I've ever seen in my entire life to have straight A's at Tennessee State University, all 4 of his years of high school. Wow. Straight A's. I thought he doctored it up and was like, so he got A. The man got straight. I think he had 1 semester he had a B. His sister got all A's in college. All A's at Tennessee State University. He played basketball. He was the most intelligent man, the most astute man, the shrewdest individual I've ever run across, ever. And I've been around for a minute, and I've seen a lot of people that were that was as astute as he was, but none more than he. None, black and or white.
That says a lot.
Wow. Yeah, that does say a lot.
It does.
Shit, I put it like this: when I didn't need a lawyer, I had to help my friend Vince Lawrence, who helped me with my DJ International contract, right? So as he's reading it to me, I'm understanding what he's reading based on the 8th grade education that I got. Not to say, okay, 8th grade, you don't know anything. Nah, alhamdulillah. He taught me way more about reading comprehension than any high school teacher that I've ever had in my 12 years of high school. No, I mean, you know what I mean. In my high school, throughout my scholastic years, I say like that. He's the only one. The only next person was my music teacher and at Simeon, because he was another Southern man who believed in Southern, how Black men need to carry themselves in a professional way. Yeah, that was another conversation we can have later on, but he was very important and influential to me as well, because I told him I was going to be a professional basketball player. He said, nah, you're going to learn how to play this instrument. And I was like, instrument. I'm not going to do anything with music. I hate music. And mind you, when I was talking like that, I played flute, trumpet, saxophone, right? Clarinet. No profession, no training whatsoever. Just picked it up. Was like, yeah, this seems kind of cool. This is the finger. This is how you use it. This game is so twisted now. They have so much put in front of them that the belief that we could help is far beyond their thoughts, bro. It's like, nah, you can't reach me. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm doing this, that person, this, it's all about this, it's all about that. It's this, that, and the other. It's woo after bam, it's da. Man, yeah. You don't, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you don't even get that. You don't even get that until it's over with, meaning you so much now, this is the consequences of your actions. When maybe you and your wife was telling some young brother, hey, young world, that's not the way to go. You go this way. It seems longer, but the reward is greater. You know what's that phrase? It's greater later. Right. That's very true. If you're patient, it gets greater later. But for young, especially nowadays in 2022, man, they can't hit. They're like, man, well, I gotta wait 12 years to become like this. I can do this tomorrow. Yeah, okay. With no economic training, with no with no educational training. Generally, we don't get taught economics in school. We don't get taught economics at home. Hell, there's nobody in the neighborhood that can teach you economics, because if you grew up in the hood, as they call it, who's gonna teach you? Who's gonna pull you to the side and say, hey, you got $100, take 30 of it and invest it in Clorox bleach. Take $20 and invest it in Nike gym shoes. You got them on your feet. You know, we get that now. And to tell a young kid that, they're like, yeah, nah, yeah, can you get money off that? Can I get paid off that? Yeah, later. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you plan on living, you're gonna do right, it's gonna take care of yourself. Yeah. So
that's true. That's true. And like you said, with your teacher and everything you learned, and now you're successful in music. Do you have any words of encouragement for those artists, producers, etc., want to have the same, type of tenure or even more that you have?
In the words of ODB, hey youth, get yourself a bulletproof. That's number one. Two, pick up a book, read the words that's in front of you. If you do not, I repeat, if you do not know what they mean in today's society, you got the internet and they could tell you everything, what any and everything believe, what meaning, the meaning of. Hell, some days I sit and watch YouTube and only historical stuff that I didn't learn in school because the narrative that they were teaching us in the school that I went to was only about them and not about us. They couldn't teach us how to be us because they taught us how to be them. So henceforth, we have all this in this society because this is the lessons that they taught us. We didn't come here on our free will, or we didn't come here on some scholarship. We didn't come here. Hell, we weren't even supposed to come here. We was the majority of us that live in this continent, that live on this continent, was by chance, bro. Because the majority of the diaspora, majority of the transatlantic slave trade went to Brazil. And I'm telling you, I know I sound like my girl, and I'm telling you, when you go to Brazil, they look just like you two. The language, the colloquialism is probably the same, but it's in Portuguese. The majority of the slave trade went to the South Americas. We that landed here in the United States or in Annapolis or New York or wherever the seaboards were, was a smaller fraction comparatively to what went down in South America. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at us and you see us, if you can see us as a whole, and some of us went over to the Caribbeans, right? That was the first port for some of us that came to the Americas. And depending on who was your captor, the Portuguese, the French, the Dutch, the Germans, whoever these Europeans were, that's what they owned their land. That's where you landed, right? These are the things that I look for when I want to educate myself. So when I do get a chance to talk to a young person, I sound like a professor. And if they go, what college you go to? Like I had a DJ say to me once before, it's like y'all said to me, like, man, you know, very educated. He said, what school? He said, what school did you go to? I went GU. Oh man, you went to Georgetown? No, brother, I went to Ghetto University. What's Ghetto University? Man, I picked up any book I could read. I watched anything that I know that I could soak up the knowledge and retain and can spew it back when it's necessary, because if I ever find myself in a predicament where I'm speaking to something, I can refer to, and especially books. I don't care who they're written by. Generally, they're giving you his story, not history. They're giving you his story. They don't never give you her story, but with his story, therein lies a truth. Every book has a truth in it. No matter how they try to flip it, smack it up, rub it down, there's a truth that's in line, that's underlying in there every time. So you figure, well, I figured like this is my best way of educating to the young people when they talk to me, or when they ask me a question, or when they ask me, especially about the music, right? Especially about contractual agreements, things of this nature, what this, that, and the third means. I'm going, man. They go, man, you learned a lot because you got screwed over. No, bro, I read. Comprehension is a must. But my man Eddie Griffin say, reading is fundamental. You feel me? Reading is fundamental, but fun too mental. I mean, no, I don't. I read Nietzsche, but I don't need to study Nietzsche. I studied the West African, pretty much where we come from, West African history, all along the coast of West Africa, all into Kenya, Somalia, to Sierra Leone, to Benin, to Angola, to all these little cultures, like even like some of the stuff in the Bible, they stole from African history. You see what I'm saying? A lot of things that they stole from our diaspora, and they regurgitated and give it to us and say, yeah, nope, this is our gospel truth. This is what we're doing, and that's that. Don't question. That's why they say don't question God. Why? I could never, because it never made any sense. How is this dude gonna die for me? He didn't even know me. Well, that's because that's what. And once you start reading further, you go, this is where they got this from. This is where this come from. And they'll never tell you the truth. They'll never tell you. You even got people, even some of our people in our culture, I die hard because that's what was beaten into them from their birth, from the time that they can remember. We're lucky that we have this information that was given, that's out there. You know, the library shouldn't be like kryptonite for us, but that's how they try to portray it. The library is kryptonite for Black people, right? Learning or educating yourself beyond the scope of what they're teaching you in school is like kryptonite to us. So they don't want you to, the last thing they want you to do is learn. And I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be quiet because I think I talked too much already. I tell people that the worst thing that could happen in society is for them is that not a nuclear bomb, hell, not even the war that we're seeing right now, is if Black people get together and start unifying. Trust me. When I say trust me, you ain't got to trust me for shit. You could just watch. Every other diaspora is like, hold up, what are they doing? They're sneaky. They're doing something that they shouldn't be doing. No, that's not right. Oh my God, they're gonna do this. They're gonna take away this. Because there wasn't even a classism before. There was no such thing as classism. That's happened to 1572 or something like that, or 1534. That's happened till then. So yeah, they're terrified when we come together. Look at the music of Elvis Presley, right? They call him the king of rock and roll. There's the very song that made him famous is a woman that wrote it and sang it before him. And everything we do, even you asked me the question, the evolution of house? We create it, they take it. I'm like, hold up, bro, it's all in here. It's all in here and here. Because when this works, this tells what this to do. And when this works, and this will tell this to do, here you go. And here you go with the microphone, here you go with drums or guitar or whatever, whatever instruments that you choose, right? They don't want that. They want us, the men as docile as possible. They want the women even more docile and more subservient to their men. That's not our diaspora. Hell, even when they came and captured us, there were women running the village. There were women running the village, and men were the underlings. The men were down. They had to report to the woman. No, but here and there, how they treat their women. That if you just sit back and look at it, I know I said too much. I'm done.
You're okay.
I'm done. I don't want to talk. Be like when y'all replay like this mug right here though. How do you know? Wait a minute, hold up. He's trying to sound educated. Everybody, do the research for yourself because I could be 100% wrong. And if I am, I do not have a problem correcting myself and correcting my vernacular, correcting my speech when I spew this information again. I don't have a problem with that. But I ain't that far wrong. Because the way they treat their women is the exact way we got the laws and how they treat us, because they have no disregard for their women, so they have no disregard for us. And we have a disregard. We lift our women up in any part of it, any part. And golden men cherish the women because the women fight right beside them. Like, no, bro, no, I'm going to war. Like, the hell you are? Where you think I'm going? Omar is going to take care of the kids. Brother, we going to fight. Right next to us. Benin women like, hey, we going to cook up this olives right here, olives right. We're going to put all the herbs, all the spices, and we're going to, and call it voodoo. We're gonna kill our oppressor. You got all the different types from our diaspora, especially women who fought right along with us. But here, they'll tell you like, nah, you go, and women, they tell the women like, no, you can't work with us. Sister go, wait, why can't I? Because you're basically because you're a woman and you're not intelligent enough to work alongside of us. Oh, really? Oh, really? So did you say that to your mother? She wasn't intelligent enough to birth you? Did you say that to your auntie, to your cousin, to your grandmother? Did you say that to them? They tell you no, they didn't. But the dominant society did. They put their women to the side. For us, it's like, nah, we know better. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Come on, mama. Come on, TT. Come on, sister. And you right beside you. Right beside you. And again, there's nothing wrong with anybody loving somebody else from another culture. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, we as a diaspora, we stuck together. We always stuck together.
For real. You shared a ton of valuable information with us. Is there possibly anything else that you want to add before we conclude?
Nah, really just peace on earth, right? Give us our 40 acres and a mule. Give us our repair rations. Give us our due. That's not asking a lot. Stop telling us what we can and can't do. Stop telling our men and women where we wear our hair. Matter of fact, just stop stealing our music. You can come in and join. That's not a problem. We don't have a problem sharing. But don't come in and join, and then once you in, the fix is in. Now you're gonna take over. Now you're gonna tell me what to do with something I helped you on. Because now the dominant society says, oh, you must be the creator. So yeah, we'll take you. You know, like no offense to my girl Billie Eilish, but it's so many women, sisters that have been doing this music, producing on their own. Not the help of their brother in the background while you sitting in the bed going, yeah, bro, I like that. Hold on, girl, I told you. Not that, but stop the steal. Anything else? Yeah, love, peace, and hair grease, I guess. I don't know.
So we just want to thank you again. You give a lot of valuable information. I learned more about you, and I think that's why we haven't spoken like ages, but I've been following what you're doing, and I saw some connections. I'm like, I want to interview you. I want to pick your brain and just want to reconnect as foremost family, foremost.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, dude. We like family, dog. It's like I've known you since you was knee high to an ant. Dale used to say, Eddie's aunt used to say, Tyree, you just geeky. Boy, you just geeky. You real geeky. You just real geeky. But you all right, Tyree. You all right. You just real geeky. And I didn't understand what that meant. Then I found out what geeky was, right? I found out even down in, it's so much about our diaspora, man. It's so much about us that we need to learn in order to understand us, so we can discuss us without discussing us. It's amazing. But yeah, like I said, I've said enough. I've said enough. I'll wait till off camera to crack y'all anyway.
Yeah. All right, so we just want to thank you. And we appreciate the interview.
Yeah, word. I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all.
Okay.